being you brought up the Chaseley Township deal, so what is the status of that? Explain that a little bit better here, please.
Okay, so to what they were told, what Kyle was told, and Chaseley Township was told is that they insisted that Doug could no longer be, Kyle insisted that Doug was no longer welcome in their township at all with the blade. So I went out and told him his wishes are command. He wasn't there and he got the message, and I said, oh, by the way, Wells County will not bring another blade guy in, and the blade will not be in your township. And you guys think you know how to blade, you blade it yourself. The only work that we were going to do in your township was go through on the Chaseley Highway and snow. I made it aware to them that they were responsible for snow removal in Chaseley Township, that they were responsible for making sure mail routes, school routes, everything stayed open, and that Wells County would no longer put a blade in their township. In fact, I told them we won't even drive through their township to get to Silver Lake. We'll go around a different township. And that they hadn't paid their $100 yet, which was no big deal, but to keep their money. At the meeting in Hurdsfield, I don't know if you guys caught it or not, so Kyle Hart is in Chaseley Township, and Nathan Hart, they live in Chaseley Township. Corey Hart is in Silver Lake. Corey asked me if we were still blading in Silver Lake, and I told him we were. So basically, Doug is blading that road that you guys looked at, except for the 2 miles close to close to Chaseley, the 200. The township line is 2 miles south of 200. So the first 2 miles of that road that basically goes up to Harts shop is in Chaseley Township. They're no longer blading that, so we are blading in Silver Lake Township that goes up to the county line. And then, so basically, Chaseley Township runs 2 miles south of 200 and 4 miles north of 200. Chaseley is not a city, they don't have a mayor, so the blade used to go in there and move snow in the winter, and I told them that we were no longer doing that. Now, that's a long ways away yet, so I'm not saying that, something we won't come to some type of arrangement, but, obviously, you guys are the final say in this, so if you want us to go back into Chaseley, obviously we'll go back into Chaseley. But I haven't taken any calls from people wanting us back. Have you?
I'm just curious, the other township officers talk to you too about it, or?
Nobody has called from the other township officers at all.
Who else did
I had my phone with me for the last week. I've returned every missed call that I had. Nobody has called me.
Oh, they're all Harts.
Basically, from what I've been told, is that township is run by Kyle Hart.
So now that Doug doesn't have to go there, if that is the case, where are you gonna give him extra hours, or how does that work?
He's gonna work up in the Carey's area. Right now, he's working up in the Carey's area. Carey's spending a little bit more time making sure Frank gets caught up. And then, that's just short term.
Okay.
Because I didn't come up with an entire new route because I didn't know how long this so-called Chaseley ban would last. Now, if this turns out to be that Chaseley thinks that they can get by
got the township special meeting stuff in front of us here. We're gonna kind of go over those real quick. We'll start with the first session over at Hamburg. I guess we'll just open up if anybody has comments on it, and kind of go through each one of those meetings like that. First,
That was their best meeting I felt.
I agree. I thought that one went very well. Pretty well. He was very well attended. He was a room was packed. So I guess anybody got comments on that? You want to speak on that?
I might go up there and do some work
Okay.
through the county. I mean, there's been a township guy that's wanted me to come up there.
If there is, if you do end up with a planned session, let me know, and I'll send a text to some of those other areas that express some interest in seeing this, so that they might send somebody up.
For me,
look.
anyhow.
Yeah.
That's in Tim Johnson's Heimdall, right, Brent?
Yep, and I spoke to Tim yet, I spoke to you yesterday. Tim Johnson is Heimdall, and Heimdall, I think Heimdall, I don't have my sheet in front of me, but I think Heimdall was at the second meeting, or were they at the first meeting, Dan? I can't remember.
They were at the second meeting.
I think they're,
They
as
were, but,
They were in here in President.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If Tim and Heimdall were very interested in that groomer also, and I spoke to you yesterday, Boone, about
Yep.
going up to Heimdall, and that's fine. Tim is excited to see it, but if you line something up there, by far the most interest in that groomer came from that northeast corner of the county, and I think the reason for that obviously was because Eddy County has one, so a couple of those townships flooded up and are close with Eddy. So, you know, if you line something up to go up there, I think it would be very good to coordinate with Dan and try to send the supervisors the day that you're gonna do it, so they can all come watch it.
Very good.
I thought there was interest in that in both the southeast and the south central as well.
Yeah.
There was,
The only place that didn't get discussed was Hurdsfield.
there were too many other things.
Yeah, that meeting got on it.
Yeah. So let's just kind of go down the line. Anybody got anything on the, when we met in Fezman here? Yeah, the turnout wasn't very good here. How about Harvey? Anybody got any comments there?
Nobody said anything.
Pretty well too. I thought the three meetings on Wednesday went really well.
Yeah.
And there, you know, I think there's a little interest over in the Harvey area, but as I said earlier, in that Harvey area, Frank's got so many roads, there's so many main roads. You know, most of all the guys are working, except Frank basically is 4.5 or 5 different townships. And Frank's only working in 4. And he has just as many miles as everybody else, because that obviously is where the population is.
Yeah.
And out of all the areas, that's probably the area that would probably use the groomer the least, because there's not a whole lot of secondary roads in that area. Almost every road that's Frank blades in the summer, he's opening in the winter.
Yeah.
So, and there's some people that were complaining that Frank's blade hasn't been around, but a lot of people don't realize he spent a week in the hospital and a lot of time recovering, so that makes a difference.
He only bladed 3 days in May. But he's been going like a banshee, and he, after speaking to him last week, he feels he's getting really close to being caught up. And, you know, but then we did send recruits over there. I forget which meeting it was where they asked why we didn't send our substitute blade operators over there, which kind of made me chuckle. I haven't seen that substitute blade list yet, but,
So, Brent, as long as we're on that subject, does anybody keep a log, like, when they were on a certain road? Because sometimes you get a call and said the blade hasn't been here all year, or the blade's only been here once, or anything like that. Is there a written log on something like that?
if you guys look at the individual time sheets that get turned into me, and then I go through them, and then I give Dan a
good. So then let's get back with these township meetings. Let's start with Sykeston, the second day. Any comments on that?
Well, I think there's some serious interest in the groomer down there. It didn't start out very good, but at that meeting, when you guys left to go to the voting meeting, I actually stuck around for about 45 minutes and had a very good conversation with not only Troy Hafner, but Dave Richter and some of the others down there. There are some constant complainers in that area. Jamie Richter for one, Troy Hafner, the Bull Racers tend to complain a little bit. I don't take a lot of stock into the Bull Racers complaining down there because Sean Marcotte was the blade and a relative of the Bull Racers, so for the most part, there was only one guy in the last 60 years that knew how to blade down there, and that was Sean Marcotte. So they just need to adjust to a different blade guy. And on that note, Timmy Schmid has taken to that blade like a duck out of water. He's really doing a good job down there for only being in his fourth year now. And we had excellent talk afterwards, but that would be another area that I think you should, if you so chose, you should show off that group.
There was some interest that we.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And then so then we move over to Bowden. That meeting went fairly well.
Yeah, it was pretty well attended. I thought that meeting was by far the best meeting on Thursday. And, for the most part, that's Bucky's area. And, they're, but trust me, Bucky's got some enemies down there. I know it's hard to believe Bucky was an enemy, but yeah, he takes them. But it's Bucky's area, and Bucky takes care, he's by far, I'm not putting down the other 7 guys. Bucky is our most experienced and our best blade operator. So I expected that meeting to be kind of quiet.
Yeah. And then the roof fell in when we went to Hurdsfield, so my comment on that. I guess we pretty much covered that already, but.
Yeah, the roof fell in and then the walls fell in on top of us there too. It wasn't just the roof. It just depends on what we want to do with Chaseley, but I don't want to keep bringing up the name, so I won't, but that's just been that way down there since I've been the foreman, and it was with Mel. The last 2 years that Mel was here, I was kind of the second in command, so I went down there with him a lot, and Mel was putting out fires with the same family nonstop. So that, this has been going on down there for a long time. That area would be, as far as I'm concerned, one of the best areas to use the groomer, because there is a lot of secondary roads and roads that we refer to as the road department as outer roads that don't have a lot of gravel, and there's townships that don't spend a lot of money down there that don't put a lot of gravel on their roads, and it is, like I stated before, the worst area to blade in, not just because of the clientele, but the other blade guys have helped Doug here or there when he's been gone, and they all say that's the worst route of all 8, because there's just nothing to work with on so many of those roads south of 200 down there.
Yeah, so that's probably the worst road in the county.
Yeah, the roads weren't built, the same as they were up by West and Army.
Okay, so.
My roommate just got here, so that's why you hear kids in the background. It's just around.
I guess, anybody got any other questions on the township meetings? No? Okay. I guess you got anything else then, Brent?
July's gonna be business as usual. There's gonna be more patches done on the highways. By the way, Atticus is a treasure. He had one of the best first months any employee has ever had at the county, and we're throwing a lot at him, and he's taking it in stride. We're working on getting his CDL, but he's been out patching highways, he's been mowing,
get him trained in on the blade, and then you got your substitute blade guy.
And we got our substitute blade guy, correct.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, it's gonna be a pretty whole month. Obviously, I don't have a good report to give you, I mean, any type of report in the last week, because I've been at the lake since last Wednesday, so I have not been up north to the bridge. But if you guys wanna relay a message to Corey Hart for me, I've probably done about 25 load passes already to get fishing equipment out of the Johnson pit. So, there, and I'm checking my email up here hourly because I'm getting so many load passes. One second, buddy. I signed another one this morning for like $600 too, so they're getting all the big stuff out.
Okay. Anybody got any questions for Brent? Okay, have a good day. Thank you.
All right, thanks, guys, and I will contact Gary and we'll, I'm looking at that part, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
All right, you guys have a good day. If something comes up, I have my phone with me, you can call back, okay?
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
You know, as long as we talk about that, Brian, you know, that one road you mentioned, I drove by this morning. There's a lot of those roads.
Oh, I'm not saying that, I'm just, the
But-
concern was,
They're a good spot for a groomer.
exactly.
You're talking the one in, Todd Sloan's,
Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
yeah,
Well,
I've heard that a couple times.
but here's the deal. Every one of those where it gets to an intersection where traffic,
They speed up and slow down and it gets washboarded.
that's right. So
Right.
that'd be the place for that.
And I
The
can
the
fix
road
that.
north of there, as it goes north, it gets further north, it isn't that bad. But it's that first quarter mile.
I think we all agree that that thing could fix it, but how do we approach that?
Right.
Do we ask the townships for more money to do that? We can't do that.
Right,
How do we want to approach that? Yeah.
What, Boone?
I did go down and blade for the walk calls. You guys noticed that in the Sykeston. Were you in Sykeston? These guys were. And I told them $225 for what I did. And they sent me a check, they give me an extra hour.
Well, the township.
So the township give me $300 for going down there, whatever I never wrote it down, but I mean, that's what they did.
The one of Todd Swansville, that's Wells Township, right? He was on the north
Yeah,
side.
it is, yeah.
I have a question for Dan though. Did Chaseley pay their blading? Have you got,
I believe there are 3 that have not paid at this juncture.
because somebody called me and told me that they were gonna pay it, and I thought, I'm not gonna argue the point.
I am told they all intend to pay. But we're further along in the game than we were a year ago in terms of people
Okay,
paying up.
okay.
But, I just, maybe I don't fully appreciate the circumstance, but this is a public entity. The 5 of you are responsible for this public entity.
Right.
I think it is horrible public relations to just decide that you're not gonna do something because doesn't feel right now. What I've been told over my time here, which is approaching 5 years, is that if roads are left go, it's gonna take more work to get them back. Okay? So by avoiding a township, aren't you asking for hardship later on?
Well, we didn't
Well, I'll tell you
approve
what.
that, we didn't approve
No.
that they couldn't go to Chaseley Township.
I think you're
As a
asking for
board.
trouble. I do.
As a board, we haven't approved that.
That would be akin, and I don't wanna get into my other life, but deciding, no, I'm not gonna teach that kid. He's a pain in the ass.
And when I talked to Nathan a little bit, Hart, he's one of the
In Chaseley.
township officers, and like, he didn't really know anything about this text that Kyle sent out to Dan. So, I don't know what's going on. It's kind of trouble between the board members there. So,
The way it sounds is one person that doesn't want our blades in there.
but Nathan did tell me earlier he didn't want the blade guy on that road south of Chaseley either, because it was nice from what, Buckmiller had done when they were blading it last summer and stuff, so he did say that, but I don't know if there's actually a decision on that board to not have the county blade the roads either.
Is
Right.
I agree with what Dan says,
Is the
but if-
city of Pheasant gonna, because there's a troublesome individual that lives down at the end of the street, gonna stop plowing snow on that end of the street?
This is the first I heard of this.
Oh,
I had no
see
idea
that road,
about this.
that 2 miles
idea.
south of 200, that used to be a paved road.
That used to
That's
be.
that's where the scar is at. They're still pissed about that. I know that, and everybody
They're
does.
pissed over from years ago, that 2 miles used to be pavement, why ain't it anymore, basically?
Well, you
It's
gotta
a nice
remember,
gravel road right now.
Yes,
you gotta remember, and I don't mean to go back in history, but sometimes you have to. Orville Hart lived there.
and he was on the
He
commission,
was the
yes.
commissioner for a long time down there, so there's still, feelings that, we should get things. And I'm not trying to be mean when I say that, but that is the mentality.
So what
You
year
can't
was
argue.
that ground up?
Huh?
What year was that?
I don't know what year it was dropped up.
I don't know.
It's been ever.
It's been a while, yeah.
It's been a long time.
But Gus Miller did a pretty nice job, he's pretty good handy with a maintainer. And when they saw that, that really got them thinking that that's the way the road should be.
That road got used a lot, cause
Right,
they were
right,
hauling,
right.
so
All
they
the
were,
time.
watering it and blading it all the time.
All right,
So
that's,
that's a big
you
difference.
can't compare